Well, we're back with another track in which you like, 'cause playing cards are cool, so is the tarot, and that is a fact. So let me do it Abby normal. From A to Z. And well, here we go, man. This is the playing card edition section. Edition section. If you do sectional addition on a smidgen, you'll probably get to a dove and not a pigeon, as you might first expect. So it's all within the middle between of the 120-fold hexagram. I'm sure I digress. Again, you want me to show you the diagram? Here we go. I'm sorry to keep you kids guessing. Here we go. So this is the Tarot Minor Arcana, and in this video we'll be showing how the Minor Arcana relates to the playing cards and my specific order that nobody would have ever guessed for how I think hierarchically both the Minor Arcana and playing cards are in truly descending order. So, very cool. So, let's roll here, and we got right up top. We have the Minor Arcana here of the tarot, correlated to the binary system in a very wonderfully unique and logical way that I like. The way it's depicted here in this diagram, because it shows the logical increase in complexity of the grams if you don't include the 16 tetragrams. So on this paper, we've got the 4 aces at the very top, which are the 4 elemental bigrams, and you see they're just composed of 2 levels. And so one logical train of thought I use here. This is father, son, mother, daughter, right here. So you can use that. This is the bottom one is just the gender, the male and the male, and the female and the female, and then the top line could be the age. So you've got old, young. So you've got old male, father, young male, son, old female, mother, young female, daughter. And that's fire, air, water, earth. And that's wands, swords, cups, coins. And so those are the bigrams of the pure elements. Those are the pure elements. They come right after the pure Taiji 2 of the number 2 of Hokma. So they're actually right before the Sephira Binah on the Tree of Life. So they are at a quite high level of the Tree of Life. So now look at these 4 deuces, and these reverberate the pure Taiji 2 principle is found at Sephira number 2 of Hokmah upon the Tree of Life. So Hokmah uses the Taiji 2 principle of complementary opposites of love under will, and it's kind of like a gelling together, a togetherness principle that naturally combines into really just a love for unity. You find that will towards harmony, will towards the unity of division, the unity of plurality, and just happy good times. So the aces are the very pure elements, very high prana, very high vibrations. The 4 pure elements. That's just fire, air, water, earth, right at the top. And then you see how the grams are just the 4 bigrams. But now with the deuces of the minor arcana, we get something very special happening. And it took me a long while to figure it out. But the deuces are very simply, as you see in this total diagram, the deuces are just the combination of 2 trigrams. And took me a long time to just come to that simple realization, because I was trying to glyph them along with, like, to somehow denote an element within, and all that. So just breathe in the simplicity of this graph. So where we got the 2 of Wands is actually the Saturn and Jupiter trigram. The 2 of Swords is the Mars and Sun trigram. The 2 of Cups is the Venus and Mercury trigrams. And the 2 of Coins are the Moon and Earth trigrams. Now, let's say it right away. And here is a direct parallel with the 8 lower Sephirot of the Tree of Life. So we didn't really touch upon Keter of the Tree of Life. That's just the unity of the Bindu. It's beyond the Minor Arcana. And so is the number 2 is the pure Taiji 2. That's beyond the Minor Arcana. And those two parts of the binary system, they exist in the center of the circle. Now, where this paper first comes into play is in the 4 cardinal directions. Once we get into the outer edges of the circle, we get into the 4 bigrams, the 4 quadrants, and the 4 directions of the circle. And those are the 4 aces of the Minor Arcana. They're the 4 pure elements, and they're the 4 broad swaths that are the 4 cardinal directions. So it's pretty beautiful. And then the deuces of the Minor Arcana, they're only 4 in number, but they represent the 8 trigrams. So, right as we have the 4 directions upon the Fu-Zi arrangement of the trigrams, the 4 bigrams and the 4 cardinal directions are implied by the 8 trigrams of the Fu-Zi arrangement. Just imagine those 2 trigrams to each elemental quadrant, and the deuces of the binary system are each composed of 2 trigrams, just as you would find them in each elemental quarter. So the 2 of Wands, Saturn and Jupiter in the south quarter. 2 of Swords, Mars and Sun in the eastern quarter, 2 of Venus and Mercury, just in the west quarter, the 2 trigrams in the west quarter, in the cup, suit of cups, and then the 2 trigrams of Moon and planetary Earth. Those are that's the 2 of coins in the north quarter of the north. So the deuces are right outside of the aces, but whereas the aces compose the 4 bigrams, the deuces, although 4 in number, compose the 8 trigrams of the binary system. It's just that they are combined because they represent the Taiji 2-like principle of the harmony of pairs. And here it's enough that Saturn and Jupiter have the opposite top unigram in their trigrams. Saturn, like for example, in the 2 of Wands, Saturn is the all-yang trigram, but the Jupiter trigram has 1 unigram as its top level. So that's enough to state that those 2 are opposite and complementary grams within the fire suit, even though they are the first 2 trigrams. So that's kind of how you logically figure that out. So the 4 aces are the 4 bigrams. The 4 deuces right outside in the circle of the Fuzzy arrangement are the 8 trigrams. And then what I do not depict in this graph are the 16 court cards of the Minor Arcana, which are the elemental counter changes, and would be the 16 tetragrams of the binary system in the Yi Jing. But I do get right into the 32 pentagrams of the Minor Arcana, and these are the pip cards 3 through 10 of each suit: wands, swords, cups, and coins. So very wonderful right here. I completely show all of the grams, and the only layer I leave out is right between the numbers 2 and 3 of the deuces and pip cards. There should lie in between the center thereof. No, I'm just kidding. The 16 court cards. So the 4 basic levels, as we'll get into in the next diagram, are the aces, the deuces, the royalty, the court cards, and then the 3 through 10 pip cards. So the Minor Arcana, as I warned you of, as can't kind of state enough, hierarchically, it's in the wildest order that nobody could have ever guessed, because they didn't, and you didn't, and even I didn't before I did, notice that it's in the order of the binary system's grams as they progress from unity to plurality, simplicity to multiplicity a little bit, because you just have these 4 simple bigrams right here, and then you got the 8 trigrams, and then not shown 16 tetragrams, and right here are the 32 pentagrams of the binary system and the Yi Jing, And then I don't even show on this because it's actually not important and very simple to understand. The 64 hexagrams of the traditional Yi Jing are just secondary bifurcations of the Minor Arcana pip cards 3 through 10 of each elemental suit. So you can imagine here this 10 of Wands. At the bottom left and right corners of this card, I would just show the appropriate 2 hexagrams that this card represents or bifurcates into. Because we have 32 cards here. They just bifurcate right into the 64 hexagrams. So these are the 32 planetary elemental counter changes. So we got Saturn of, so the wand suit would be Saturn of fire, Jupiter fire, Mars of fire, Sun of fire, Venus of fire, Mercury of fire, Moon of fire, and planetary Earth of fire. They're all of the fire element, but they're the planetary counter changes of the elemental fire suit. So you call them the planetary elemental counter changes, or at least I do. And then when you deal with the straight up 64 hexagrams of the Yi Jing, it's just the planetary counter changes, which is to say just the 64 planetary counter changes. You don't have to say planetary twice. I'm not Dr. Strange in the brain like crazy. I'm Dr. Sprain. I'm not Dr. Sprain in the strained ankle, like ouch or youch. I'm Dr. Strange in the brains, like whoa. Anywho, and anyway, let me pause for una segunda. I don't want to sprain my ankle. It's a marathon, not a sprint. Look at that turtle go. Look at that turtle go. Look at that turtle go. Bro. Don't you know I am the Geronimo? Whoa. 1,111 times 4 plus 330. Okay, let's get back right to this diagram, rocking and rolling here, boys. This is the 4 aces, the 4 deuces, and then the 3 to 10 of each suit of the Minor Arcana, given their Yi Jing binary system grams. And we show the pentagrams, the 32 pentagrams of the Minor Arcana. So man, this is the entire tarot, Minor Arcana of the tarot, given grams, minus the 16 court cards, which would be the 16 tetragrams, and you can probably figure it out by how I say this is wand, swords, cups, coins, and give the element. So you know that's the, so you know this is the bigram. We'll just do it simple. The bigram of fire right here. So this is pure fire. So what do you think the King of Wands, the King of Wands? Yeah, that's how you say it. I've got a mind freeze there for a second. The King of Wands is just fire of fire. So it would just be this gram by this gram. So just 4 solid lines is the King of Wands. Fire. That's how you build upon the basic grams. And I didn't include those 16, but that's how the binary system and the Yi Jing lines up with geomancy, how the court cards really line up with geomancy. I showed that on a separate video. Cheers, baby. We're getting into it. Let me see it. Let me see it. We are still, because, did I slow down? No, I didn't slow down. Did I speed up? I sped up too much, apparently. I got 10. I got 10 on it. I can't believe that I would need to explain this any further. But, do let me state again. Now, this is a cool feature of it. You see these deuces, 4 deuces right here? Well, that's actually the same as the 8 lower Sephiroth of the Tree of Life. It's the exact same. So this would be Saturn and Jupiter. This would be Binah and Chesed by attainment level and highness of quality of the cards. So the Deuce of Wands, quite high. It's Binah and Chesed. The Deuce of Swords, quite high. Mars and Geburah upon the Tree of Life. 2 of Cups, Netzach and Hod upon the Tree of Life. And the 2 of Coins is Yesod and Malkut upon the Tree of Life. The 4 deuces are the 8 lower Sephiroth of the Tree of Life. Very important. The 4 aces are an actually unnumbered outpouring and outcropping, the first outpouring of the pure Taiji 2 of Hokmah as the Taiji 2. So right after the Taiji 2, and that's right after the Bindu, you have the absolutely unity of the Bindu not shown. And then you have the unity, and you have the love under will mid-state unity of the Taiji 2 as 2 as Hokmah not shown. And then right after that, you have these beginning of the directional 4 bigrams as the 4 elements, still very pure as the 4 cardinal directions. And then, instead of having exactly the 8 trigrams as the next outer layer beyond the 4 bigrams, the Taiji 2 principle works its magic in the Minor Arcana by having its 4 deuces numbered as the combination of 2 trigrams each that are in the appropriate and specific elemental quarter, that they are hieroglyphed within, so that the Deuce of Wands represents the south as Saturn and Jupiter. The 2 of Swords represents the east as Mars and Sun. The 2 of Cups represents the west as Venus and Mercury. And the 2 of Coins represents the north as the moon and planetary Earth. Now, why? So it's basically they're both 2 separate each of the Tree of Life, and kind of represent the entire cardinal direction, since they're the unity of both the trigrams. So even right here, it's kind of depicted a mid-state unity. It's the deuces of the Minor Arcana are not quite the aces as the pure elemental directions, undivided, and they're not totally the two separated trigrams in each of those 4 cardinal directions, but they're a magical unity of those trigrams working together in complete accord. They're wonderfully Taoistic, and that's why in card games you often have deuces wild, because they're magical. The deuces are magical, and that's seen in my diagram here, where they're planetary magic. They're conjunctions of 2 planets, so they harness all the planetary magic, or kind of not all of it, but a nice union of it. It's kind of like going off the cuff, throwing cards up and stuff like that, like juggling a little bit. So it's kind of the magic. They preserve the magic, the deuces do, being Taijutsu-like harmonies. Anyway, we're going down the list. I think we already mentioned them. Already mentioned all this, but yeah, I didn't not shown the 16 core cards. We got into the deuces a little bit there, a little bit further. But those are just the 32 pentagrams of the pips 3 through 10. And so this next diagram, finishing it up, buttercup, not quite. These are the 4 elemental suits: wands, swords, cups, coins. And it goes from yang to yin. And you can see that by this pentagram, all yang, and then this pentagram, all yin. So it goes from yang to yin, goes from there. No, it actually goes here. It goes straight down, but we'll see it on the next diagram, guys. Just goes ace, deuce, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of each suit. But that's not the actual order. That's not the hierarchical order of the whole Minor Arcana. I'm going to reveal that coming up within the next diagram. Here we go. Let's put on my glasses, guys. This is too exciting for Aunt May. Okay. Oh my God, dude. I can't believe somebody revealed this after all these years. Past Newton. What in the highfalutin pastrami cakes? No, just kidding. That's terrible. Okay, so we already went over this. Let me see how much. We're doing it again here. So, as I say, here are the 4 suits. And I got these levels, and I got the actual numerical order, so where it's not confusing at all, in which I order the Minor Arcana of the Tarot. Okay? So, beautiful. Now, see right above here, I'm calling the 4 suits of the Tarot and playing cards by their Italian names. Bastoni as wands and clubs, Spada as swords and spades, Cope as hearts and cups, and Denari as diamonds and coins. Beautiful. So look at these figures above. Oh my goodness, they kind of look like wands, swords, cups, and coins. Yeah, and that's pretty amazing. It's based just a pattern I found within the 16 tetragrams of the binary system. I think I explained it already, but it's kind of like a super magical little deal there. Good thing I'm wearing my bindi. You can't like go all War of the Worlds on me and run for the hills. On check. Anywho, so it's real cool. I love those emblems as the four kind of emblems, like when you break it down and like according, like in the spirit of the binary system, they're cool. But I don't want to get into those. Well, I kind of will though. So don't take this as part of the tarot or anything, but you can see these four symbols right above everything. So that's the wand, the sword, the cup, and the coins. Well, those grams are one of the 16 geomantic tetragrams of the binary system, but they're in a logical order up there. And the bottom two dots, just look at the bottom two dots of those symbols, and it changes when you go in a bottom-up ordering from yang to yin. The two dots have the most yang. This is the yang. The dots are the yang, and then when you have a two broken dot line, that's the yin, correlated to the yi-jing, solid and broken line. So we got two solid lines, two dots, all yang, and we got a one dot and two dots. That's yang below yin, which is the air trigram, air bigram. Sorry. And then here is the one dot above the two dots. And that's the water bigram. So where it's the first yin unigram at the lowest level of it. And then here with the earth bigram, you just have two broken lines as its foundational bigram. So quite literally, we have fire, air, water, earth in the order of the elemental bigrams that are the foundational basis that compose these four symbols based upon the 16 tetragrams. So it sounds complex, but it's not once you just kind of study the logic, because so as far as those four symbols, we dealt with their bottom two unigrams that they use, and now the top two symbols. It is important to get into this because it's kind of magic how it works. It's just magic how it works. So the top two grams are the fire gram and the first bigram. So in those top two symbols, it's the first all fire bigram, and then in the last two symbols, the top bigram is the all yin female bigram. So what you have, if you can even catch the pattern, is fire of air. Oh shoot! Scratch that. Fire of fire, fire of air, earth of water, earth of earth. And it doesn't seem apparent, but the fire of fire, it goes fire of fire, and then fire of air. And the similar thing about that is the first fire. So you have the first fire bigram at the top of both the wand and the sword. And that's what creates the top of the wand and the top of the sword. And the difference between the wand and the sword is the wand has a vertical shaft that keeps going as composed of the two dots, but the sword has 2 dots and 1 dot as its horizontal shaft and hilt. So it breaks there into the air bigram. So that's what makes the sword an air bigram. And so with the cups, you keep going with the fire, air, water, earth, bottom bigrams, but you flip the logic from where the top of the wand and sword was both a vertical shaft of the fire bigram. Now you switch it to its opposite because the fire was the all yang bigram. Now you switch that, flip that logic into the all yin bigram of 2 broken lines and 2 dots. And the first bigram of the cups symbol, which is earth of water, the earth bigram makes a natural open cup symbol. And then the water bigram as the base of that chalice creates a common old drinking cup motif where the base of it kind of goes in like a triangle a little bit, and then you have a wide open upper crevice and mouth of it. Okay, so that's the cup symbol, and then finally you have the earth of earth tetragram, which is indeed the last geomantic symbol, even in the traditional order of geomancy, and it's called populus, and that's usually means plurality, which it does here as well. But there was a few different symbols that you could adopt for that, for the way these geomantic dots are positioned. You could make that into 2 pillars. You could even make it into 2 large coins if you kind of form 2 circles around each of 4 dots. But basically it could just be pillars and not too much else, honestly. It could be 2 cubes, but that doesn't make too much sense. 2 squares. So I think it's correct in that saying that last symbol of earth, of populus, does actually represent 8 different coins or diamonds or gems. And it's actually meant to represent plurality a bit. And it's also the planets, 8 planets. And you can do some Laman art on each of those 8. It's basically the 8 lower sephirot of the tree of life, right there. But that's the coin suit, and so we got it. All right, we made some good headway there, and so there's basically 4 major levels of the Minor Arcana, as I was stating, and I kind of equate them to their grams right here. So the aces, the 4 aces, that starts off the Minor Arcana. I'm giving my exact hierarchical number order. So the 4 aces started out. You've got the Ace of Wands, the Ace of Swords, the Ace of Cups, and the Ace of Coins. First 4 cards of the Minor Arcana. Then you have the deuces. You've got the 2 of Wands, the 2 of Swords, the 2 of Cups, and the 2 of Coins. And the aces are the 4 bigrams, and the deuces are the 8 trigrams. 2 trigrams per each deuce, and the 4 deuces represent the 8 lower sephirot of the tree of life. And now which nobody suspected prior to my work, is right after the aces and deuces come the royalty, the 16 court cards of the Minor Arcana. Now we're doing the Minor Arcana, but playing cards are very similar to this order. All you have to do is scratch out the princesses of the Minor Arcana and kind of go back and plug in my number order here. I don't bother to list it because the tarot is the most full numbering of the scheme, so you would just have to go back. But I do want to timestamp it this nonetheless, that I view playing cards as the king equals the king, the queen is in the wrong order. It should be always king, jack, princess. So that's the order you have to go in. Nobody really suspects that, but that's the order of the from yang to yin that is found when you order the Minor Arcana in first priority of the yang to yin of the binary system. So we're going to yang to yin, and that's king, prince, queen, princess, always. So that's the order. And then in the playing cards, you would have to order them king, jack, queen to truly be in accord with the tarot. And then you would go 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of each suit. You would go ace, deuce, king, jack, queen. But you wouldn't do that per each suit. We're going from divinity to multiplicity. You would first start with the aces, like I said. You don't go per each suit like is common with the playing cards. You go the 4 aces, the 4 deuces, the king, prince, queen, princess of wands, king, prince, queen, princess of swords, king, prince, queen, princess of cups, king, prince, queen, princess of coins. So it permutates around that full 16-fold hierarchy, but it does that 4 to each elemental quarter. So you have king, prince, queen, princess of wands in the south onto the north. Now we jump to the next outer circle of the binary system and leave those 16 court cards, and now we get into the 32 pentagrams of the binary system in Yi Jing, which are the planetary elemental counterchanges of the pip cards 3 through 10 of the 4 elemental suits of the Minor Arcana. And I have the exact number hierarchy detailed here, so there's no doubt. So 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, and 32 are the 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 of wands. And they're correlated to a pentagram of the binary system, as I depicted in the last graph. So we're moving right along. 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, and 40 are the 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 of swords. The 41st, 42nd, 43rd, 44th, 45th, 46th, 47th, 48th card of the Minor Arcana are the 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 of cups. The 49th, 50th, 51st, 52nd, 53rd, 54th, 55th, and 56th card of the Minor Arcana are the 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 of coins. The last card of the Minor Arcana is the Ten of Coins. The first card of the Minor Arcana is the Ace of Wands. Prior to the Minor Arcana, if you want to order the entire tarot, the first card of that tarot as it faces down would be let me not state the order of the tarot trumps just for now, but say that it's 1 through 37, a 37-fold tarot trump scheme, so that 37 plus these 56 Minor Arcana cards equal a total 93 card tarot card scheme. So that's all I need to detail. It sure did trip me out seeing these, how close these 4 symbols is composed of the different a logical order of these 16 tetragrams reproduced, reverberated, synchronized with the traditional Italian suit depictions. It's amazing. So that's kind of like a divine and magical synchronicity, honestly. It's just brought out by the binary system, but it didn't have to be those exact figures. I mean, it's amazing. So that was it with these series of videos. I first discussed how the Sanskrit alphabet upon the chakra petals correlated to the new abracadabra system of initiation. So where Shiva right here as the top 2 petals of Ajna fits right in with the original OG shaman, the knower extraordinaire, and that's the child archetype, which is not just the baby, it's the baby up until the young adulthood, and then the child becomes either the father or the mother after that point. But stressing it again right at the third eye area, upon the truncated pyramid in the Eye of Providence, you have the right eye of Horus symbolized as being right there. And what that is, that's the solar divine gnosis of consciousness. Divine gnosis of consciousness is pretty good definition, but what it is, it's symbolically the gnosis of the Ein Sof R, to tell you truthfully, most truthfully, that's what it is. But at the ajna level, you know, that gnosis would be muted a little bit. But it's just the love under will, natural gnosis of nature. We're not getting into the specifics, just to say that upon those chakra petals, the god Shiva can be read straight across once you take my rectified Sanskrit alphabet order, which is amazing. I don't even know if I can say that. No. But yeah, so it's Shiva right there. So pretty much goes towards proving that rectified Sanskrit alphabet order a bit, where Shiva pops out as the Ajna chakra. That's amazing because it can be usually, you can depict a trident as it is right on your forehead, and some Shaivites will depict those 3 horizontal bars on their forehead, which you know, you can easily equate that to the trident a little bit. It's just like, but very cool that worked out. So, you know, I got 14 as to how much I should applaud myself for basically rectifying occultly the true order of the Sanskrit alphabet, and as such the true nature of the chakra petals, and it flowered into a true understanding of the magical universe, and you get some very high vibrations right into the chakra schema. So the new Abracadabra and the chakra schema kind of overlap, because you can imagine the traditional my rectified chakra petals, but then you also could imagine, as I did in the previous videos, for instance, the new Abracadabra degree system, it would start all in Muladhara, which is the genital chakra by my calculations, and that would include the first 10 degrees of the tarot, which is to say the new Abracadabra. So that's not the same as saying the first 12 tarot keys are the chakra petals of Anahata, like is symbolized in the chakra system where we were just dealing with. The first 12 alphabet letters are right here in the heart, and then you get it down to the 13 through 22 and at Manipura, which I say is the liver. So that's quite like, it doesn't make a ton of sense first, but maybe that's just the adept digesting himself or something. But right after Manipura at the 22, that you are a Magister Templi by the pure chakra system. So I was kind of jumping systems there. You got the traditional chakra schema, but then you can overlay the new Abracadabra degree system on top of the chakras as I do, and it's like it's the parallel kind of system, which you'll just have to keep studying. But anyway, so at Manipura, upon the petals are the alphabet letters 13 through 22. And I say the 22nd degree of the new Abracadabra is at the height of the Magister Templi degree in Binam. So your Magister Templi, once you fully complete the Manipura series of chakra petals, that's what we're rolling with here, just the chakra petal scheme primarily. And so the 23 through 28 in Svadhisthana can best be symbolized by you are now a magus in the grade of Hokmah, truly, and you are distilling your quintessence down ever more truly until it becomes a unitary consolidation of purity, truth, which is the top Bindu chakra of Sahasrara. So the work of the Ajna chakra of the left and right lobes of the brain in Hokmah is the unity of consciousness, self-realization, into the Sahasrara chakra of Keter, but we're not really using these top chakra symbolism because we're going by the alphabet letters. And so remember, the Manipura chakra ended in the 22nd alphabet letter, and I said that was the height of Bina and the Magister Templi grade. So once you hop off of Manipura and into Svadhisthana is the 23rd through 28th degrees of the New Abradabra. You're a magus right there, and you're in the Tao. That's the Taijitu, so you're in a pretty good Tao flow state of love under will, and you're just distilling yourself through pretty high quintessentializations at that point. And that's the 23rd through 28th Sanskrit alphabet letters. And as you will note, I change the Sanskrit alphabet order past M equals 25, past the 25th letter Ma. So we have a few new Sanskrit letters. After Ma, I have Sha, Sa, Ha, and I have the letter Ha ending the Svadhisthana chakra, and that's usually the last letter of the Sanskrit alphabet, most traditionally. So something mystical happens after the adept quintessentializes the Svadhisthana complex of the 23rd through 28th degrees of the New Abradabra, which are actually in Hokma. And so it's right before the self-realization experience of totality, where the Bindu, the Sushumna channel, harmonizes. So the adept has made great stride in Hokma and has kind of digested their Svadhisthana chakra down and digested their self, their selves wholly, pretty much. And what that does, once you digest yourself wholly, you're left with nothing but the Holy Spirit and the 29th alphabet letter of La, of the Bindu. So that's pretty much what it is. The 29th degree is the Sushumna channel, and the only really decent way to where to place the alphabet letter is, instead of having the 1,000 petals of Sahasrara, you can just put the one letter of the 29th petal of La. Just put it as a circular Bindu or something at the Sahasrara chakra. So there'll be a little bit of a disjoint, but after the 28th letter of the Svadhisthana chakra, you have the 29th chakra petal, mystical, that is actually the entire Sushumna channel, which symbolizes that the Holy Spirit doesn't change no matter how far the descent into plurality. The first unity never changes. So it's always that white column. And then we're talking about the subsets from there. Okay, so after the 29th Bindu, which is the Sushumna channel, we're starting to get into the Ein Sof, our region of the Tree of Life, and that's a pretty high vibration, and that's what the first three petals of the first four petals of the Sushumna chakra, of the Muladhara chakra. I'm sorry, I'm trying to pull up a diagram at the same time. But the Ein Sof R starts to begin at the Muladhara chakra, surprisingly, And that's because this is a magical fortification of the genital and forehead area, because they both have to do with the highest vibrations of divinity, that being that of the Ein Sof R region of the Tree of Life. And as such, it's the full expression of consciousness mapped out. That's the genius of the chakra system, truly composed of the first 35 letters and the total number of Sanskrit letters of the Sanskrit alphabet, ending in the last two letters being Va and Sha, but when placed upon the Ajna petals, you can read those left and to right as Shiva. So Shiva becomes embedded as the last two letters of the rectified Sanskrit alphabet, right upon the Ajna chakra. And so he is the beholder of the ultimate gnosis, and that 30 through 35 are all the degrees in the Ein Sof R region by my placement of them when I first created the structure of the new Abracadabra in 2008. I wouldn't find, well, I would know these chakra petal Sanskrit letter correlations. Yep, I did. It's crazy. But yeah, I knew those, and I knew Shiva was apparent. I just didn't, until the new Abracadabra was formed in 2008, I didn't make the connection that it was just a system of attainment and thereby a symbolic hierarchy of consciousness being communicated. So let me get off here, because we'll just keep going into the rotunda of it. But here is how the chakra petals encode the Sanskrit letters, and I'm saying that Muladhara and the Ajna chakras are actually encode vibrations of the Ein Sof R of the Tree of Life in their chakra petals. So the chakra petal system of the Sanskrit alphabet gets into a very high vibration upon the chakras. So you can use that and have a lot of fun with it. But the actual chakra system, the top chakra of Sahasrara, that's the Bindu, and that's Keter as the number 1. So the actual chakras themselves that number 7 or 10, there's 7 major chakras, and then there's some subsets that equal 10. And that's the major and true system as proven by how the binary system unfolds. So the actual chakras do not symbolize anything beyond the number 1 as the unity at the top of the head. But once you get into the chakra petal system that has 35 parts total, the numbers above 29 represent levels of consciousness in the Ein Sof R. And so let me tell you the full exegesis. We've dealt with the 35 alphabet letters of Sanskrit, and we said the 35th is the consonant Sha, and that's the first letter of Shiva. So mystically, the 35th letter of Sanskrit represents Shiva. and the height of the Ein Sof are Gnosis, where consciousness fully knows itself. It turns inside itself enough, says, I am self-awareness. I am self-knowing my self-awareness totally and completely. There's nothing more to self-referentiate. And then it looks up beyond its totality, beyond its bindu, beyond its multiversality, beyond its infinite self-knowingness. And at that point, probably, won't get too logical or standard experiential gnosis. But that's the 30th degree on up to the 35th is the adept breaking out of the bindu point of the abscissimus, which is the Sahasrara chakra, and flowering out even further into the first degrees of the Ein Sof R, and then they can even start to experience the other parts of the Ein, however fully. So we got the system right here. That's the 30 through 33 is the Ein Sof R in the chakra petals, and then 34 through 35, the full expression of the Ein Sof R as Shiva, Shiva's open eye. So that's it, unbridled right there. And then surprisingly up is just the bindu point. So it's not fully open right there, but symbolically it is as the right eye of Horus. So there's like a little inkling. It's symbolized there just because it's the center of that triangle that we saw on the truncated pyramid. The Ajna chakra is right here, and since it's the center of that triangle, it's very convenient to put a right eye of Horus symbol right there and have it as a nice decoration saying and expressing the enlightenment of consciousness of the atom. So here we go. We did that all through it, brother. And we went total full explanation, 16 ice, 16 on the magic. And then the next diagram we showed was how the Minor Arcana, all the grams of it, and how it just went from the most simple bigram of the 4 pure elements to the 4 deuces, and then it went down 3 through 10 of each elemental suit. So you've got 4 aces, 4 deuces, 16 court cards, and then 3 through 10 of each elemental suit is the correct order of the Minor Arcana. And I spelled it out in this one. And this final diagram right here, where we've got wands, swords, cups, and coins. And then I show the 4 major levels of the Minor Arcana. The first level is the aces, the second the deuces. The 3 is the general royalty, called the court cards. And the 4th level are the 3 through 10 pip cards of each suit, the 32 pentagrams. So I hope that's clear. And I have those specifically numbered 1 through 56 of how exactly I think the Minor Arcana descends. And so, I mean, the tree of life is actually right in this descending order, where Sephiroth 3 through 10 are the deuces. So that cutter point is not shown, and neither is the pure Taiji 2. So if you can imagine the numbers 1 and 2 above this diagram, that's how it fits in, and then the deuces are 2 Sephiroth each. So that's how the 2 number systems fit in. This total 56-fold number schema of the Minor Arcana is not magically important. It just the 3 through 10 is the magically important thing. Just as the number system 1 through 10 is the important thing, and that's what this is based off of. All righto. Excelente. Walterio. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. 37 letters, 37 keys of the tarot. The supreme pristine summation of magical reality as far as the 1 through 37 number system goes. The other pristine summation of magical reality is the 1 through 10 number system as represented by the Kabbalah, the Ein region of the Kabbalah, the Minor Arcana, and the binary system, and how those fit together. That's the 1 through 10 system. And then the 1 through 37 system is like what I was discussing, that the Sanskrit alphabet upon the chakra petals reverberate, and what the 37 letters of do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law encode. And which is to say the entire Sanskrit alphabet, as well as hitherto untold, but I'm leaving it that way, the 36th and 37th degree is just, well, it's just Ida. It's Pingala and Ida. Pingala being the male, Ida being the female. Those two absolutes. I should say it's as simple as that. You know, cool. So, abrahadabra. Love is the law, love under will. Crusos. So I think the teacher, my teacher, the archer, I hope everybody enjoyed my multi-hour expurgation, expoundation, exegesis, expurgation of the 2 number systems 1 through 10 and 1 through 37, and you know, a few side strands from that knowledge. So we did it upright, and just right. Now I'm about to sign Wizard Yacht Owens. Aletheia, hailing from the umbrella of the new Abrahadabra. May all enjoy my equilibrated wisdom teaching. I have communicated my inner balance to the best of my ability. And that was all my research upon the cross of equilibrium. I expanded the alphabet. I expanded the tarot, correlated it to the alphabets. Basically just summed up the major points of the 1 through 10 and 1 through 37 number systems. The first being based upon the Tetractys, the Kabbalah, and the Minor Arcana. And especially as nobody would have predicted, but as it turns out, the binary system. And then next, we have the 1 through 37-fold Sanskrit-based alphabet and tarot system that is also representative of and encodes the identical initiatory model of the expansion of consciousness from birth to death in an optimal initiation. So they both represent systems and models of initiation, and that basically how they correlate to each other is how they do that. It's the same model of attainment, of course, and then we just parallel those two. The two different models do fit together, not like the Sefer Yetzirah was comprehending, but they do. And that's it. It's 1 through, so the 1 through 35 of the alphabet system ends with Shiva. It's the full gnosis of consciousness. So if you can, it's a trinity, and the 1 through 35 is all the child part of the trinity, as it turns out. It's all the self, all those divisions represent the divisions of self as consciousness and as the primal human. So it's from my perspective as a human, as a manifest entity, as a knower, is pretty much how you can define that child area. The first knower, the first shaman, Woden, the seether, the knower, the person trying to know, anyway, the adept, just the normal, just the human man, the human devoid of any sex, just the beer, the experiencer, the exister. Very simple. But it's that knower of consciousness, and we don't want to mislead in our speech there, because it's not me knowing consciousness, it's consciousness knowing itself, because consciousness is archetypal and supremely great at its height. And its height is Shiva, as I've said repeatedly in the Ein Sof Ar. So if you can imagine consciousness fully knowing itself and not just the individual parts of itself is us and our beingnesses. So it's just a little bit of a step back, surrender of the smallness to the largeness in regard to consciousness. And then once consciousness has milled and churned itself enough into a self-referential enjoyment, kind of bliss of constant surrender and enjoying, constant melting into wonderment and beatitude and peace and glory. It fully self knows itself, and that's the 35th consonant of the alphabet, and that's Sha in my rectified Sanskrit alphabet order to imply Shiva. So that's why Shiva is actually important in my gnosis, but it's that right there, that top, you can use a bunch of different kind of savior type gods, light type gods right there. You could go Amitabha, the Buddha of light right there. You can go Jesus Christos. You can do Horus. You can do Horapar. You can even do Satan as more like a serpent, is more like an initiated teacher, not an adversary in any capacity. At that level, that's like the super duper man, super duper knower, and just getting great knowledge, spontaneously. That was, right there. So we're rolling. So that's the Ein Sof Ar. It's the Ajna, but see on these chakra petals, the Ein Sof Ar starts to be encoded with Muladhara. So you get a nice golden genital region, a nice, infinite light at that region, really fortifying, protecting you, revivifying you, and as well at the forehead level. But that's only for a high adept to work with those energies, and that's why it's just encoded on the chakra petals and not in the large centers of the chakras, which only first begin at the Bindu level as Sahasrar, with the point down to multiplicity as the chakras go down the body, even to include the arms and legs. But with the chakra petals, you get a little bit more of an occult inner kind of vibration, a little bit, which you can use. But it's just all just meditation. I meditate upon all the 35 Sanskrit letters and kind of the order I've put, and it's great. It really harmonizes you. Gets you going with those outer chakras beyond even the Bindu point. You really get into the some really expanded states of being. For example, the La of Leela and Lalita, the La, just a straight La, just the normal la sound. La, lalita, la, lila, la, la. Real playful. Lila, lila, lila. It's kind of just real playful. And then if it's at the genital region, it's kind of a little bit of love play, even ciphered at that. It's kind of a high. Those Sanskrit letters way out there kind of get into those adult highness states that can be enjoyed. So I'm gonna have to super duper. Come on, leave it. There, yes, we have the balance. La med, my pleasure.